we'll now head over to T-Mobile Park and look at our Mariners here, who uh, it was maybe the ugliest sweep I've ever seen the Mariners get in their final 3 games of that 9-game road trip, and then they came home to play a Astros series that many were worried about. They viewed the City Connects, which we'll get to, but they were good fortunes. So let's move forward. On May 2nd, the series against the Athletics began. It was a 2-1 win. Our player of the game, starting pitcher Bryce Miller. Miller made his MLB debut in the game. Was called up to make the start. He had 6 innings pitched, 2 hits given up, 1 run allowed. It was earned, no walks, and 10 strikeouts on the day. It's the most strikeouts in MLB debut in Mariners franchise history. He did carry a perfect game into the 6th inning. Just a stellar debut from Bryce Miller to come up, get called up from Double A. We'll get into the roster moves here in a little bit when we get to the team-related news, of course, and just deliver that sort of performance. Never faced Triple A hitting, and at least in the regular season, that is. And to fill in this role after Seattle's kind of been patchworking it since Robbie Ray went down with an injury, tried to get the same sort of production out of Chris Flexen, wasn't able to do so. And now it's looking like Miller might be the answer to sort of fill that role, fill that hole, and let him ride with that. But I mean, we'll have another Bryce Miller to start to look at, so we'll look at that in a minute. On May 3rd at the Athletics, a 7-2 win. Our player of the game, third baseman Eugenio Suarez. Gino, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 RBIs, and 2 walks. Seattle had to come back in this one, just like in the game before this with Miller. Seattle, very little run support. They didn't get anything until late into the game. AJ Pollock in both games had late game homers to really jumpstart the Mariners offense. I say jumpstart in that 2-1 game, but that one, I mean, not so much a jumpstart per se. And this Athletics one, definitely, because he would help get the Mariners to tie this game. They would send it into extra innings, and then Gino's home run really kind of opened the floodgates for the Mariners. They were able to, his homer made it 5-2, and then they were able to tack on 2 more to get the series clinching win in that game. On May 4th at the Athletics, in the this was the Thursday game, yes, because they had Monday off, so the series started on Tuesday. In the Thursday game on May 4th, pardon me, they would win 5-3. They did come back in this game because they did go down first. Play the game left fielder Taylor Trammell, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 RBIs. Trammell hits another homer, so his 2 hits since coming back from AAA and from his rehab assignment, both of them were homers, so he's been able to hold the trident twice. He hasn't hit in major leagues this year without hoisting the trident after that hit, so that's kind of fun. But having to come back from being down against the Athletics, in all 3 of those games, with the state that this team is in, not only as a franchise, but as the current team itself in terms of personnel, is a little frustrating, to go down, to not give your starting pitchers run support. It's certainly frustrating. And was glad to see that they were able to get that big burst in game 2 and get a little bit more than game 1 when they had that sweep game in game 3. That would all set up. They had a 4-game win streak at the moment. They would go back home. They had the City Connect debut on Friday, May 5th, versus the Houston Astros. A 4-6 loss. I mean, this was a game that Seattle was down in. I believe they went down. I want to say they went down 4-0. They went down 4-0. Luis Castillo, there was a 3-run chunk. Yordan Alvarez hit a 3-run homer with 2 outs. Wasn't able to get out of the inning. Then gave up a run the next inning. But at the same time that this is happening, Seattle is not giving him any run support. So, there's been, we'll get to that in the main discussion. But we'll show you here our photo of the game by Matthew Bermudez. You can see J.B. Crawford walking off of the diamond after being tagged out on the final out as Taylor Trammell got grounded into a double play to end the game. Our player of the game, second baseman Colton Wong. Wong had 1 hit with 3 RBIs. He had a bases loaded clearing double to really bring the Mariners back into this game. Eugenio Suarez hit an RBI single to score Ty France, tied this game up. Unfortunately, Seattle was not able to do anything. Did this go into extra innings? I believe it did. Wasn't able to do anything, and Seattle's 4-game win streak would be snapped. they would lose game one. They would lose their City Connect debuts. You can see it on JP there. We looked at it last week as well. They will wear the City Connects every Friday. I believe at home. I don't believe it's every. I believe it's every home Friday. So look forward to Fridays at T-Mobile Park. I really enjoyed them again. If you didn't see our video last week about it, go to our Mariners segment of last week, and you can hear us talk about it there. On May 6th, in Game 2 of the series, the team would win 7-5. Our player of the game, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Crawford, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 RBIs, and a walk. This time, it would be J.P. who had, the bases loaded, clearing double. Seattle was down in this game early as well. The Houston Astros was able to tack on runs along throughout the course of the game, but it would be Seattle in the 8th inning with 2 outs. 2 outs. All of these runs were scored with 2 outs. They would tack on 7 runs. Paul Sewald would come in the game to try and shut the door. He would give up a 2-run homer. I believe it was Kyle Tucker. But he was still able to get it done. They had built enough of a cushion to where that 2-run homer did not matter. And it was a big win. It was a big win to come back. You can see the emotion here by JP. Please go to our articles tab, whether that's on the Circling South Sports website or the Converge website, and go to this game. This photo is the cover. It is by Matt. Matt did a great job with this. I was going to say all of the photos in the sequence from JP Crawford celebrating were excellent. He just looks really fired up. I'm not trying to say a bad word, but it looks incredible. It looks bad A. It's amazing. He did a great job. I was really happy to see that. So that win would set up the rubber match. In Game 3 on May 7th, a Sunday game versus the Astros was a 3-1 win. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, we'll keep it here. 3-1 win. Our player of the game, starting pitcher, Bryce Miller. So Miller ends up on here again in his second start, both of his starts. 6 inning pitched. 2 hits given up, no runs, 2 hits in 6 innings against the Houston Astros. They might be without Jose Altuve and some other names, but they've still got Yordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, Jake Myers hit well, so it's no easy feat for him to be in his second career MLB start, makes his T-Mobile Park debut, and gives the fans in attendance an excellent showing. No runs allowed, as I mentioned, only 1 walk compared to 5 strikeouts in this photo here by Bird's Eye View Visuals. It's a great transition because Miller is our player of the week. With 2 games played, 1-0 on 1-0 record, a 0.75 ERA, 12 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts, compared to only 1 walk, and a 0.42 whip. In case you're not aware, the lower the whip, the better the pitcher. Like having a 1 flat whip is really, really solid. Yeah, this was incredible. I mean, to see the sort of contribution that Miller was making, to have no Robbie Ray, to have him go down with that arm injury. I was really hoping that Chris Fexton was going to be able to come in and have some semblance of his performance from the 2021 season when he was a consistent starter with this Mariners team. He just didn't do that. In 3 games he pitched, I believe he gave up at least 4 runs in each of them, 8 in 1 of them, and just wasn't able to be starter material. They had Easton McGee start a game in Toronto, we mentioned last week, and he pitched well, but I think whether it was the brass or Service and Dipoto, they said, hey, he's ready to go. We're going to give him a shot. And at least through 2 games, albeit one of them against the Oakland Athletics, Bryce Miller has looked good. He's looked efficient. He pitched well. He pitched well. And I'm excited for him to continue to do this. Hopefully it'll be interesting to see how the team might manage the workload he's getting, because again, he didn't pitch in AAA. This might be a bigger workload for him than he's used to. So how they manage that will be interesting. Maybe they do split him and try to get some more juice out of Chris Flexen. I'm not entirely sure. I might have to check the next time at the ballpark, ask around, see what what either Scott or Bryce himself. But I'm excited. I'm excited about it. It's incredible, as I've continued to watch the game of baseball as I've grown up, to really appreciate good pitching, and to have guys like Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Robbie had a good year last year, so we throw Robbie in there. Marco has his days too, and you add Bryce Miller to that, and the pitching that has come up. There was someone who said that the Mariners need to target hitting this draft, which is obvious, um, and that they went too pitcher heavy in recent years. I would say too heavy is a not the smartest way to call it, because I mean, think about it. You've drafted guys like Gilbert and Kirby and now Miller. And those guys, Robbie Ray and Marco and Luis Castillo are all veterans. They're all kind of at their peak or nearing it or getting closer to it or whatever, or getting over the hill. These guys are all Gilbert and Miller and Kirby are all on the come up, which is incredible to say. You've got three of your rotation players in that direction. So they'll have their bumps, which is sure. I'm sure Bryce Miller will have his bumps. He'll have his missteps and so on and so forth. But I'm happy to deal with that, knowing that I will have a starter here throughout the course of the year that's only going to get better as his career continues. And the stats showed that his stuff right now is sustainable. So again, some pitchers will figure him out. Some video teams will help their hitters, figure out what to target, so on and so forth. But I'm happy with it right now. I'm really excited to see where he goes and what that career looks like. So, yeah, we'll look at injury-related news here. There were two things that happened in terms of injuries. On May 3rd, we got the announcement that Robbie Ray had surgery on his left elbow. The surgery was performed by Dr. Keith Meister at TMI Sports Medicine in Arlington, Texas. Dr. Meister performed a flexor tendon repair and reconstructed the ulnar collateral ligament UCL in Ray's left arm. The other thing that happened, so that was just an update on Robbie. Dipoto said that he should be expected in May or June of next season, so it's tough. But again, to add Miller into here and kind of have him take his place isn't the worst thing in the world. What that means for the 2024 rotation, we won't get into because that's far from now. On May 6th, the team placed right-handed pitcher Penn Murphy on the 15-day IL with right elbow inflammation, which was retroactive to May 4th. And you'll see why that move was made. What the result of that move was made as we go over to team-related notes here. On the 2nd, the team called up Bryce Miller from AA Arkansas. As a result, the team designated infielder Tommy LaStella for assignment. So LaStella is somebody who was brought in as a veteran bat who could play one of the corners if need be on the bench. Just wasn't able to perform. Seattle had kicked the tires on him, and it just did not work out with LaStella. On May 6th, the team recalled right-handed pitcher Juan Ten from AA Arkansas as a result of the Penn Murphy move. So it is spelled Juan, T-H-E-N, but it is pronounced like the number 10. So Juan Ten. If you don't know, Juan Ten's been in the organization for a decent amount of time, and he's finally getting his big league shot. So it's exciting for him. I don't have any idea how long he'll be around. He may just be around until Murphy returns, but I'm hoping he's able to show a little bit out, because if you followed the Mariners farm system, if you know who Juan Ten is, he's been around for a little bit, and just hasn't been able to get up yet, and now he is. So excited for that. The only thing that I have in relation to team-related notes is that the Dodgers and Padres will play in Korea in 2024. Los Angeles, and San Diego will open up the 2024 season with the first ever MLB games played in South Korea. So that'll be interesting. I know that I believe it was the Mexico series, MLB. I believe it was the Giants and the Giants and the Padres. So the Padres continue to stay involved in things, no doubt about that. They're a star-studded lineup. I know former Mariner Mitch Haniger had a homer in one of those games, so salute to Mitch, and all hope swells for him and continued health. But it's interesting, you look at the World Baseball Classic, and obviously MLB wanting to grow the game, and I hope they're able to do that, because it's a great game. Seeing the way that so many different countries represented their team in the World Baseball Classic was great, and you hope for more of that, obviously, if you're Major League Baseball. So the Mariners sit at a 17-17 record. They are fourth in the American League West at this point in time. Looking ahead, they'll finish out their short 6-game homestand with a 3-game set against the Texas Rangers May 8th at versus the Rangers here, T-Mobile Park, and 9th are both 6:40 p.m. first pitches. And then May 10th versus the Rangers is a 12:40 p.m. first pitch, as the team has a getaway game on Wednesday. May 12th is when the team begins their road trip and first game of 3 against the Detroit Tigers. That is a 3:40 p.m. first pitch on May 12th. May 13th is a 10:10 a.m. first pitch. While May 14th at the Detroit Tigers to wrap up that series is a 10:40 a.m. first pitch.